Hey guys, welcome back to Living in the Mom Lane. My name is Mandy. In today's video, I am sharing with you some fall-inspired foods. First, we have a maple pecan baked brie appetizer, which was absolutely delicious. And then for the main entree, I am sharing an apple cider pork chop recipe with honey butter roasted carrots on the side. And then, of course, you have to have a dessert. So I am sharing an Instant Pot recipe dessert called Easy Apple Dumplings. This video is also in collaboration with one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Jen Chapin. If you don't already follow her, you are definitely missing out. Jen is also a work outside of the home mom with 2 kids. She is a nurse in the hospital working in quality improvement. On Jen's channel, she shares a lot of weekend meal prep videos with a little bit of cleaning and day in the lives and a lot of grocery hauls. Her channel is amazing. She's a very inspiring woman, and I have learned quite a bit from her from watching her channel. So definitely check her channel out when you're done watching this video. I will have her channel and her video link down in the description as well. If you are new to Jen's channel, definitely check her out and let her know I sent you. Tell her hello. And if you are coming over from Jen's channel, hello and welcome. Like I said, my name is Mandy. I am also a work outside of the home mom. I do physical therapy in the home health field setting. I have 3 girls. One has already left the nest, an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. So my days are pretty busy. So enough chit-chatting. Let's go ahead and dive into making these fall-inspired foods. Ingredients that you will need for the baked brie is 1 8-ounce round brie cheese, 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a cup of chopped pecans, and you can serve this with a sliced baguette, sliced apples, or crackers. I decided to only use apples, and I'm using Honeycrisp apples. Also for the brown sugar, I am using my Swerve brown sugar replacement just to cut down on the calories and the carb content just a little bit. This recipe came from Pinterest, so I will link that below. My entree came from the America's Test Kitchen Young Chef Cookbook, and the dessert is coming from the Instant Pot Electric Pressure Cooker Cookbook. So I will link those recipes down below for you. The first thing I'm going to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and then I go ahead and put some wax paper on my baking sheet and place the brie cheese on top. And you're going to bake this for about 15 minutes or until your brie is softened. And this right here is not supposed to happen. There was like a little hole or a split in the rind, so whenever the cheese started melting, it just kind of oozed out of the rind. I salvaged that by scooping it up with an apple, and it was really good. So the next thing I'm doing is putting my maple syrup, the brown sugar, and the cinnamon in a small saucepan. I'm going to let that warm up on low heat until that sugar is dissolved, and then I'll stir in those pecans. While the maple syrup brown sugar mixture is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and slice up my apples. And like I said earlier, I'm using Honeycrisp apples. Honeycrisp apples are very sweet and they are delicious. My kids love them. They are a little bit more expensive than like your Red Delicious apples or even a Gala apple, but I purchased mine from Aldi. And for about a 3-pound bag, I believe it's about $3 or $4, which is much cheaper than Walmart or Publix. Any kind of apple would be really good with this appetizer. My sauce is now nice and bubbly, so I'm going to go ahead and pour those pecans in and just mix that up and let the pecans warm a little bit. And while that is warming, I am going to go ahead and start placing my apple slices on my little cheese board here. And like I said, you can use a baguette or crackers. If you're making this, say, for Christmas, you could actually put some dried cranberries on there. I actually plan on doing that for Christmas. I absolutely loved this appetizer. Now, I will say, if you have never had Brie cheese, whenever you buy it and you open the package, it stinks. It has a very strong ammonia smell to it, and when I first opened it, I forgot how it smelled, and I was like, oh my goodness, this smells like cat pee. But that is just how it smells. It does not taste anything like how it smells, so definitely try this recipe out. It was delicious. Now moving on to the main entree, which is apple cider glazed pork chops. What you need for this is half a cup of apple cider, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of minced fresh thyme, 4 boneless pork chops, salt, pepper, and vegetable oil. My pork chops actually were on the bone, so I did go ahead and cut them off of the bone. To prevent your pork chops from curling up whenever they're cooking, what you want to do is take some kitchen shears and just make 2 little small slits through the fat on the edges of each pork chop, about 2 inches apart, and that will keep them from curling up. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just looking for the fatty pieces and cutting those slits in the pork chops. Now I'm just patting the pork chops dry with a paper towel, and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some salt and pepper on each side of the pork chops. If you are coming over from Jen's channel, I like to share my grocery hauls with you, meal prep ideas, what's for dinners, and a little bit of cleaning. So if that's your thing, then I would love for you to go ahead and subscribe. So now in my liquid measuring cup, I'm going to whisk together the half a cup of apple cider, the 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and the 2 teaspoons of the Dijon mustard, as well as the 1 teaspoon of minced fresh thyme. So I'll just whisk all of that together and then put it to the side until I am ready to use that. Here in my skillet, I have some olive oil. The recipe calls for vegetable oil, but I did not have any, so I'm just using olive oil. And I go ahead and place my pork chops into the skillet. You want to cook these without moving the pork chops until they're browned on one side for probably about 5 minutes. So now while those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and melt some butter and honey in a small saucepan. This is going to go over top of some cut up carrots, and then I'm going to roast those in the oven. I have the carrots in an 8x8 glass dish that I'll be putting in the oven. So I just poured that butter over top of those carrots and put them in a 350-degree oven, and I roast those until they are fork tender. So now my pork chops have been cooking about 5 minutes. They're nice and brown on one side. There was one right there that I needed to flip back over and let it brown just a little bit more. So the next thing I'm going to do is pour that apple cider mixture into the skillet. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium-low, and I'm going to cook those pork chops until they reach 145 degrees on an instant read thermometer. So now I am removing the pork chops from the skillet because they are done. I'm just putting them on a plate, and then I will turn the heat up to medium, and I'm just using a rubber spatula to keep stirring the apple cider mixture until it's nice and bubbly. And now I am just spooning that glaze over top of the pork chops. This was really good. We're not huge pork chop people, but these were very good, very tender, and the sauce was delicious. I actually think it would be good served over ham. So here are my carrots. They are all done. I'm just gonna add a little bit of kosher salt on top, mix those up, and serve up dinner. Now moving on to dessert. This was so easy to make. My husband absolutely loved it. The kids were not that huge of a fan, which I thought was kind of odd, but what you need for this recipe is 1 can of crescent rolls, 1 large Granny Smith apple, cored, peeled, and cut into 8 large wedges, 4 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of brown sugar, again I'm using the Swerve substitute, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a pinch of ground nutmeg, and 3/4 cup of apple cider. I did not have nutmeg, so I actually just used some apple pie spice. You can also substitute it with allspice if you have that instead of nutmeg. So the first thing I did was preheat the Instant Pot by selecting the saute function, and now I'm just peeling and coring the apple and slicing those up into the 8 wedges. Don't ask why I was not using a cutting board. I have no idea. My countertops were clean. I did sanitize them just before making this. So now I'm rolling out the crescent rolls, and I take 1 wedge of the apple and roll that up inside the crescent roll, and then I'll just put those to the side until I am ready to use those. Now I'm adding in the butter, sugar, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg, which I'm using the apple pie spice. After I added in the butter, I did select the cancel button on the Instant Pot before I added in the other ingredients. So I'm just mixing this up until it's nice and melted. Now that everything is nice and melted, I'm adding in the dumplings, and you want to put them side by side down in the pot. And now I'm drizzling the apple cider along the edges of the apple dumplings and put on the lid. I'm going to select the manual function and cook these at high pressure for 10 minutes. Once the cooking is complete, I'm going to let it do a natural release, let it cool for a few minutes, and then serve these up. And you cannot have apple dumplings without a couple of scoops of vanilla ice cream. So that is how I served it up. The kids actually liked the ice cream more than the dumplings. I think it was because the dumplings were a little bit gooey, which they're dumplings, but this was really good. It was actually better the next day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to head over and check out Jen Chapin's channel and see what yummy goodies she made. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love for you to do so, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.